everyone. I have one more paper pumpkin project to share with you for the January 2017 kit. Today's project is called Valentine Mailboxes. And I've also included a quick tutorial on how to make your own mailbox without the paper pumpkin kit. So I hope you stick around and let's get started. Here is one of the treat bags from the kit that we're going to be using. Grab a ruler, and the one I'm using is a Tim Holtz ruler, which has measurements going up and down. And at the top of the cardstock, we're going to measure 1 inch down and just draw a line with a pencil. On the two sections that have creases running down the cardstock, we're going to make some arches or a curve. To get it somewhat nicely curved, I'm going to use a toonie. That's our Canadian toonie, $2. And I'm just going to trace around that. So basically, make sure your pencil is on that 1 inch mark, butting up to the edge of each side of those sections. And they're actually 1 inch sections. Once you do the little arches, as best as you can, create those two lines on each arch. And you're going to see what they're going to be after. I made them shorter, but I thought that making them longer helped a little more. So we're just going to snip the excess off. And it is kind of tight getting in there, but do your best just to keep the curve smooth. This is what it should look like when you're done. In this next step, you're going to be using the layering squares dies, and also you're going to need the detailed Santa Thinlits dies. And in a second, I'm going to show you what it looks like. And we're going to use that piece right there. Grab your ruler, and I just used the 5 and the 6 mark, and then 1/16 left and right of those numbers. And try to center it between the crease marks because you want that slot pretty centered as best as you can. So I basically drew the line and then placed the die on top of that and line it up. And then even though I'm using a magnetic platform, I'm still going to put a washi tape on it. Note where I put the top plate. So it's about 1/16 before that pencil mark because you don't want to go too far over. Just kind of give yourself a bit of leeway. And it's pretty close. We're going to put that die back on and we're going to remove the other side. And this is where you can kind of gauge to see if you need to, cut off a little more on the right side or not. Just eyeball it the best as you can and then run it through again. Make sure you don't go too far over with the plate because you don't want to cut more off on the other side. So that should have worked out very nicely. And then we'll just remove our pencil mark. I did have one on there earlier, but I didn't like it. I thought it was a bit too high. Fold that flap down, which is a 3/8 inch flap, so it's a bit wide for the platform. Grab your little square die and just kind of gauge where you want that door for the mailbox. And again, when you put the top plate on, don't go all the way to the bottom because you want the bottom to stay intact. So I left about a good 1/16 of an inch or so because you don't want to go too close. That way it'll leave a nice little flap. Pretty cool, huh? And also die cut a square, which is going to help you create the side hinges for the door. Grab your scoreboard and just kind of score across that door there just to make it a little easier to open. Okay, this next step is pretty tricky, so just be patient. Grab your bone folder, and the one I'm using is a Teflon bone folder, but any bone folder will work. What you're going to do is that curling action. By curling those two sections, I found it much easier to glue down. Now we're ready to fold all the score lines. Be careful when you're folding the score lines. In particular, that one side right there, you want to fold it where the solid side is facing you, because you don't want to take a chance of ripping the door. Now we're going to stick that one side down. Open up the flaps on the bottom, and that way the box can stand up on its own. We're going to focus on the back side of the mailbox, not the side where the door is, but the back side. So that side is going to be inside, and we're going to glue the tabs over top of that. So note that the glue is going on the other side of the tab, and it's going to go over top of that back flap. It is a bit tricky, but just make sure that it's lined up, and then once you're happy with that, just put your flap down and then use your bone folder to help you glue that part down. And then we'll work on gluing down the other side. You might find some little side pieces sticking out, so just grab your scissors and just kind of snip a little bit away, but try not to do too much, because then you might leave a gaping hole. We're going to be making a tab for the door, and I'm using this tab punch, which I believe is retired, so you can actually use a circle punch. That will actually work too. The piece that I cut earlier, the square, we're going to use that and trace it on another piece of cardstock. And we're going to grab something that's circular. That way you have somewhat of a nice curved hinge for each side of the door. Don't make the curve too wide because the box is only about 1 inch deep. And then we're just going to create a little rectangular box on each side. And then we're going to cut that out. Now you could make this differently. You could just cut down the sides and create 1/4 inch flaps along with the curved hinge, and then glue it on each side of the door flap on the box. But I'm going to just do a solid door and cover it entirely. So I'm just measuring it out, make sure it's the right height. Okay, so for scoring, I'm just going to score it slightly inside the line that I drew. And then for the door stopper, just note the angle. And then we're going to snip off the little point there. And then we're going to glue our tab down. And you're going to glue that tab on the side that you're going to glue against the door. That way it hides that bottom part. Gluing this down is just a little bit fiddly. Be patient. I did do it both ways, creating the little side flaps instead of a solid door. Either one, it's still a bit fiddly. Looks like I'm ready, and we're just going to bend those sides in, and our door hinge is done. I think it's pretty cute. Now you can decorate this box. I'm using a 1/4-inch washi tape. Pretty simple. Put that on both sides. And it's basically the only one I have other than this other one, which has the days of the week. So this was my best bet. And then I'm going to use a recycled love heart that I made earlier. I had it on a test project, so I kind of ripped it off of that one. Just pop it up with a dimensional. And the Sending Love note was created using the Sealed with Love stamp set, which is in the Current Occasions catalog. I think the box came out pretty cute. In just a moment, we're going to be jumping into the quickie tutorial on how to make a mailbox with just regular cardstock without the paper pumpkin kit. So it is a little bit sped up, so hopefully I can keep up. So get cardstock, cut it at 6 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then keeping with the theme, we're going to stamp all over the page with those little hearts using Melon Mambo. And with your scoreboard, we're going to score it at, on the long side, the 6 1/4 side, we're going to score that at 1/4 inch, 2 1/4 inches, 3 1/4 inches, and 5 1/4 inches. and then turn it once to the right and score it at 1 inch. Okay, and then on the bottom there where you scored the 1 inch, we're just going to snip that, basically like the paper pumpkin, but we're not going to miter it this time. 1 inch down from the top, and then the little slit measurement, and the die we're using is the same die, but we're only going to go about 1 inch down. So we're going to create a smaller door opening. Door now measures 1 inch down, so grab that piece, that extra square piece that we cut out, and just measure 1 inch down, and then trace out the width, and then create the side panels again. And to decorate the box, I cut out 2 hearts from the Sending Love cardstock. And we're just going to glue those together and just stick it at the bottom of the box. And we're going to finish that off with a cute little envelope made with the Love Notes Framelits dies, which is in the Current Occasions catalog. I think they came out pretty cute. So here is a summary of all the cards that were made with the January 2017 Paper Pumpkin Kit. I hope you enjoyed this series. Thanks for watching.